We have 100 colours, 50 artists and one massive collab. Welcome to the largest Pantone collab here on YouTube. So this collab is hosted by the lovely Christine from Courageous Painting. She has the most amazing channel. Her channel is all about creativity and courage when it comes to your creativity. No matter what your art style, no matter your art level, be courageous, have fun and trust the process. She often illustrates issues that we have as artists through storytelling and the storytelling of the monster universe. I love the monster universe. There are so many awesome things in there. Her map was amazing. She had a great storyline about AI art too, which was that was amazing, Christine. Loved it. Bravo. Anyway, as a result of AI slop and other things that happen, we have maybe lost our confidence when it comes to colour. As such, the rainbow bridge has shattered. This is the concept of Christine's collab. So now she has enlisted the help of 50 different artists to each produce a piece of art using 2 colours from the Pantone range, and we will restore the rainbow bridge, bring peace, harmony and creativity back to the monster universe. So I have 2 colours. I was very excited when I found out I was going to be part of this collab and very excitedly chose my first colour, which I went with one of my favourites, which, well, it wasn't my exact favourite. My exact favourite was like a hot pink, but that had gone. So I went for my second favourite, which was a kind of tealy colour, so it's this Caribbean sea. Now I chose that without taking into consideration that I'm not choosing my second colour, Mike is. So now I have to really hope that it goes well with said colour. So Mike, what do you have for me?
Thank you for taking on this challenge. Mike is ready to select your second color. Spin the wheel. Let's do this. $40. Oh, it's so pretty. Now that you've got your color, it's up to you to use it in any creative project to help restore the rainbow bridge. Mike and I can't wait to see what you create.
Oh, I can't believe it. I got my pink. Oh, I'm so excited. I love the colour combo. This is one of my favourite ones. I'm really lucky because this has not pushed me out my comfort zone at all. But yes, I am excited. I have no idea what we're going to create. So let me just contemplate that and we'll get going. In the end, I opted for creating a mixed media piece. It has been a long old time since I have done something like this, and I thought it was a good representation of possibly where my journey sort of started in the art world. But in coming to this decision, boy did I go through all the artistic things that kind of stop you in your tracks and make you worry. I have known about doing this collab for many months, and so there was loads of time to overthink and decide what to do. There's also some incredible artists in this collab, so I have major imposter syndrome, and all of that ended up being very debilitating, completely opposite to what this entire collab is about, which is about embracing your own personal creativity, your own personal style, rebuilding the rainbow bridge with our confidence with colour. And yes, so that was an interesting mix of emotions. Eventually I decided to go with this. I feel, again, sort of an imposter syndrome thing here as well. I feel that I don't fully fit in a niche. I started my journey crafting, and eventually I ended up becoming more of a designer for the craft world. So I'm artist and I'm also crafter, and sometimes I feel like I don't fully fit in either camp. But I also knew that Christine had really encouraged anybody that took part to think about the variety of sorts of creativity that there are, to do something that suited us, that we could do whatever we want, to show a wide spectrum of creative ideas, which is why I ended up going for this. Now, you've seen me do quite a bit. I started off using a texture paste and some stencils, and then I've literally just layered lots of junk. I tend to hoard, a lot of these are like broken toys, broken bits of jewellery from when my child used to have the Disney princess magazines with the cheap fake jewellery. So I tend to squirrel all of that around. You can see there was like some jigsaw pieces from one of these sort of surprise egg type things, and a few bits and pieces that I have collected. And I do love this sort of trash to treasure kind of art. So yeah, I just thought this would be a bit different, maybe something that is not seen too much on the collab as you hop around, because as I said, there's lots of fabulous artists, and I thought it would give a different way of being able to play with colour, especially if you are not an artist, if you can't draw, although I kind of believe everyone can draw, but that's a whole other subject. But if where you are in your creative journey at this moment in time, you don't feel confident with drawing, you can still make beautiful art, you can still make colourful art out of anything. And we are proving that today by creating art with trash. So I start off using, well, I'd planned to use these sprays because they're nice and opaque, but as you saw, the spray bottle didn't actually work. So that's going to be a whole other thing. I'm going to have to work out if I can fix that, but that's maybe a job for another day. So just to kind of make it work, I used a paintbrush, dabbed it on, sprayed it around with water, and let the ink move around. To be honest, I end up covering most of this, but that is part of the joy of mixed media. I think you just have to work in layers. Bringing a piece together like this requires quite a lot of patience and just slowly but surely building up the layers until you get something you like. I think that looks incredibly pretty, and we could have done something with it, but the reason that I end up pulling out some different supplies in a minute is I feel that we see lots of texture here, and I kind of want to be a bit more selective with which texture actually stands out. At the minute there's just too much, the eye is going absolutely everywhere, so I do end up changing it quite a bit. So here we are going to fix the said piece by pulling out some acrylic markers. Now first of all, I had to mix the colours into the Pantone colours that I had been given. Mostly the colours weren't too bad, they were just slightly more desaturated than the ones that I used. So I added a bit of Payne's Grey into both of them, and that seemed to make them fairly accurate. So now this time I am going in with the acrylic. Now the reason partly that I wanted to do this, as I said, I wanted to be more selective with which bits of texture could be seen, but also if you go in with a darker layer and then build towards your lighter layer, the shadows are naturally there. It's really difficult to put shadows in after the fact on a piece like this because there's so many different nooks and crannies that you have to get into. So being able to kind of work from dark to light just means your shadows are naturally there. So I had pink in one corner and the blue in the other, and I did sort of let them blend a little bit, which kind of created this purpley, but I didn't want to have too much of that colour because I really did want to stick to the brief of the Caribbean Sea and the cactus flower. So we just build that up, and I think it's looking so much better now. So now we're doing some more dry brushing. When you do mixed media, it looks like a complete mess, as I'm sure you saw when all the trash was just sat there. Then it kind of looks nice and fresh when you get the white on, but you lose all the texture. Then you sort of lose the texture again when you put the colour down, and then it's the dry brushing that brings it all back. Now I'm not wanting to finish with white, but I did want to dry brush with white. I tend to find that if you get the paint about 3/4 of the way up the brush, you flick at a fairly fast speed and quite flat against it. The reason I went white first is because I wanted to have the blue over the pink areas and the pink over the blue areas. If I'd just gone straight down, whilst that would have worked, there wouldn't have been as strong a contrast, whereas layering the colour on top of white does make it pop a lot further. My favourite thing when doing one of these trash to treasure projects is to use gold. I just love the irony of the fact that it's trash and we make it gold. So I have pulled out my Pebeo gilding wax. This is an amazing thing. I have had that tub of wax and I've used it in workshops and all sorts of things for probably about 16 years now, and it's still going strong. But that's because it's actually a furniture grade wax, so it goes a long, long way because it's designed for kind of, you know, covering a table or something. And we're just doing little bits of art. The other thing about being furniture grade is you can polish it, which is awesome. A lot of craft waxes don't do that. So I had got to the stage I liked it, but I felt it needed a feature piece, I have really hurt my arm. I did a massive colouring project recently that took me about 8 hours, and I've managed to give myself tennis elbow, so I'm having to go quite gingerly, so I didn't want to colour up a whole piece. So I looked through bits and pieces that I've coloured in the past. This is not one of my drawings. This is a Krista Smith Saturated Canary. I did have a look online. She doesn't seem to sell these digi-stamps anymore, but this is one I had from the past, and the colours were so perfect. To be honest, had it not been part of this challenge, I'd have probably left it with those sepia tones. I thought it worked really well, but I didn't want to be introducing too many colours. I really wanted to stick to the two that I had been given. So I thought it was easy enough to alter. I came in and just added that greeny blue to the bottom part of her dress. So we adapted it and made it work. And this is what I love about mixed media projects, is that yes, there's trash. This was an old bit of colouring that I probably did, oh, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago. I'm trying to think. It was well before I had my business anyway. So I did this a long time ago when I was taking the Alice Keegan classes for colouring, and it has literally just sat in a folder in my craft room for ages. I just looked at it now because I thought, what have I got that I can stick on this piece? And so it's given this a new lease of life. Now it's no longer just locked away in a drawer, but it is actually going to be on an art piece, on a gorgeous canvas, sitting in my art room. So that is awesome, and it's one of the things I love about these things. Now, because we've got so much texture on the canvas, we need to kind of raise her up a little bit because she's not really going to stick. So I just did that with cardboard. Again, I've used gel medium. I would highly recommend gel medium when it comes to doing this sort of mixed media. It is a really strong glue. It literally sticks anything to anything, and it has an element of flex. So unlike your hot glue, which can ping off because it's brittle, gel medium has this element of flex. It expands and contracts, and so it is a really permanent adhesion. So finally, I just add a little bit of shadowing. Again, I just darkened that blue colour with a bit more Payne's Grey just to create the shadow. I'm edging this with an ink pad because I like things framed. I just think it is good. It helps the eye to look where it's supposed to look. And so I do like to frame everything. And then finally, I just add a little bit of a sentiment. So I've got be brave, be creative, you're perfect the way you are. And I thought that was a perfect sentiment for this piece and for this collab. Finally, because I can't help myself and I tend to have splatters on everything, I add a few gold splatters, and here it is. My offering to help to restore the Rainbow Bridge is this mixed media piece, trash to treasure piece, and I hope that you enjoy it. I'm not sure if it's something that you have ever tried before, but I would love to know your thoughts, and if it's something that you would maybe give a try in future in your creative practice. It has been so long since I have done real mixed media like this, and I've absolutely loved it. There's something really satisfying about turning trash into art. It is just so much fun, and I love the results. So yeah, I think we will be doing more of this. If this is something you enjoy and you just enjoy creativity in general, please do consider liking and subscribing. We do lots of different things on this channel. Also, please do go check out Christine and her channel because it is awesome. And don't forget about the amazing collab. I have watched every video in the collab so far. They are awesome. We have had all sorts of art styles. We've even had cake by the marvelous Susie Neverland. So please do go and check it out. And also you may want to pop over and subscribe to the lovely Spam Creates, because she's the next in line to restore the Rainbow Bridge. So if you don't want to miss out on the next episode, pop over there and check it out. I will be back again next Friday with a brand new video, and I will see you then. Take care and goodbye.